Okay, hello guys. I'm going to show you something really awesome. I've been working on the debugger and I'm not perfectly happy with it yet, but I want to show you what I've done so far so I can get some feedback and do the last changes before we release it. Now, what we have been talking about is how to understand how signals relate to each other, because there's not, like, the current debugger kind of like states that there's only one signal running at any time, but that's not really true, is it? Because we're doing asynchronous stuff which might trigger a signal, or maybe just some arbitrary signal might trigger accidentally at the same time as some asynchronous signal is running, and we should display that in the debugger. And we should also be able to investigate all the signals that has run without actually moving back and forth in time. So what we're going to do now is make a change here. Okay, so what we see now is a signal that has run, which we see up here, and we have the log of the action. We have talked about having a graph instead, and we should definitely do that. Though a graph doesn't give that much, we have two ways to look at it. A graph gives a really nice view of how the signal has run, through the actions, but you don't have that much information on each node in the graph, like you have in this kind of view. So maybe we should be able to flip it, so you can choose what kind of view you want to look at. Anyways, when I add new signals here, we can see that we kind of have this timeline up here, and I can look at the different signals at any time without affecting the application. But if I click the remember button down here, then it remembers that state. And if I hit enter, we can see that the signal is now running since it's yellow, and then it's green again. But what if I add two to-dos very quickly now? Let's see what happens. As you can see now, I was actually running other signals as this to-do was submitted. So these occurred under each other. So that means when I move through this list, it means that I'm jumping to the signals that run at the same time, was executing at the same time. So if I want to remember this part, then I only have one to do. And if I want to remember this part, then I have to remember all the signals that run at the same time. And what's really good about this is now it handles, if one signal has an asynchronous action, which fires off a different signal, which does some state changes, and then moves back to the other signal again, the cerebral will actually handle this. So it will remember the first signal, and then it will start remembering the next signal, and it will finish that, and then it will do the state changes related to the first signal after it, and then it will continue doing that. So it won't actually remember one signal at a time, it will intertwine them. And of course we could probably do this more complex so that you could actually remember to a specific signal, but I don't think that would be a good mind load, really. It would be just too complex to understand, and yeah, so I think this is a really good balance of handling signals running at the same time and remembering different parts of your application. Okay, so if I do this some more, yeah, and this is basically what I've done now, and I think it's a huge improvement. Remembering state I haven't used that a lot. It's a cool feature, and maybe it's beneficial for some kind of debugging, but I think it's a lot more important to be able to go back and just look at the signals, what data was passed through these signals. And of course, understanding what signals has been running during the same signal execution, like we see here. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you. This is how it looks now. please give some feedback if you want to make some changes, if this didn't make sense to you, if we should move some stuff around, we should add some more stuff before releasing a new debugger. But yeah, that's how it looks right now. Thanks for watching.